Masicka and Tommy Lee have just now erupted into one of the most unexpected clashes dancehall has ever seen, and the songs have been taking the place by storm. But where did all of this come from, and what do half of these lyrics even mean? Well, to understand this, we need to take it all the way back to a couple of months ago at Reggae Sumfest. During Masicka's performance with Joshi, they had a few interesting words to say while on stage.
Me not beg no credit for no boy, no time at all. Me a one boy, every time. When me say DJ, me know what kind of boot that you have on. But me say them not bad like your shoes lace. Them say gonna put out or gonna go. Nobody, none of them.
Of course, since he brought up the word crown, everybody assumed that he was taking shots at Vybz Kartel himself. And knowing the fans of dancehall, of course they took this and ran with it, and thus became the next few months of speculated beef between Masicka and Vybz Kartel.
Vybz Kartel versus Masicka. Masicka need to do a diss song for this cartel.
With media pages reporting on nearly every little move that they did and comparing the two at every chance they got, just itching for them to clash, even though they never officially said they had any problems. That was, however, until a couple of days ago. Tommy Lee Sparta, legendary artist and longtime associate of the Gaza camp, just so happened to be on his live. Except this time, instead of talking like he usually does, he decided that he would let his music speak for itself. Quite literally. Instantly, this clip made the rounds all over social media and had the entire country wondering if they were really hearing correctly. Some people even thought that he meant massacre, as in the actual word, not Masicka. It could never be. But the speculation became even more valid when just a few hours later, Masicka would post a random picture on his Instagram story with the song Step On Them by Agent Sasko, which is a Vybz Kartel diss track from 20 years ago in one of his earliest clashes. There was literally nothing else this could mean than he was ready for war. But as the fans were on the edge of their seat with all of their speculations, everything was confirmed just a few hours later when Tommy Lee would randomly upload a music video to his page called Control. And anyone who thought he was beating around the bush before was now sorely mistaken. In the very first lines of the song, Tommy Lee accuses Masicka brawling of having no street credit and coming after real murderers, and says, "Go and go learn some badness and go suck your mother." The first verse then starts off by saying, "Can't run off a ground, never run off a block. No little boy can't give Gaza chat. Be what you be, don't be what you're not, and don't size up with the done." Saying that he will never run away from a war, and a little boy like Masicka can never war Gaza no time. So he should stop trying to be on Vybz Kartel's level when he knows that he will never be there. He then goes on to say, "Fully seat say you know want your soul. From your this Gaza done, everything I gonna lift up." Saying that Masicka clearly does not like his life if this is really the road he's willing to go down. The song goes on with more general violence, but gets even more disrespectful when Tommy Lee says, "Cologne at Tom Ford, kick off your bitch nose, shred this hood, then my bust off in her throat, my turn it back way and clot it here loud, then spit in her face." And while he's degrading Masicka's woman in the worst ways, Masicka will be screaming in the corner saying, "Low my bitch now." All of this to say that his Tom Ford cologne is so strong that it will kick off his girlfriend's nose and cause her to perform the most diabolical acts, while Masicka is helpless to do anything about it. The chorus then delves into a very rock-inspired section saying, "Out of control, we hard for control," which gets pretty catchy before leading up to the most iconic part. "Anyway the big bomber bust, you can't touch the back. It make Masicka look like mosquito." Saying that his weaponry is so effective that it will shred Masicka to bits, making him look like a literal mosquito. After this, yet again, the song continues with more violence and the chorus once more, and then it comes to a close. And of course, as you can imagine, the fans went absolutely insane, losing their minds at the fact that this war was really happening. But you see, this song wasn't really a crazy diss. It's not like it had super insane disrespectful lines, and it only directly mentioned Masicka one time, so people genuinely wondered if Masicka was going to reply. After all, he's pretty much dodged every war for the better part of the last decade. But that all changed when later that day, all fans got a notification in their inbox that made them leap out of their chairs. A red background with a skull on a video titled Masicka Vain. And instantly, every single person clicked on it and the view shot up to the sky. The song starts off by saying, "If me say me are the goat, I will for vex. My color still the goat in the west. Hey Bob, you are the king, nothing less. A bad way bad, a button press and shot will stitch up on the flesh." Saying that, yo, who can be mad if I say that I'm the goat? I'm supposed to be rooting for myself. Michael Jackson is still the goat in the west and Bob Marley is still the king of Jamaican music. So obviously, if you are take it to heart, say me are the goat, that must mean say you just a bad mind me. me. He then goes on to say, "When a demon name sex, Sparta some fish were pre-man and dress," saying that he would rather be a crocodile than a demon because demons are infamous for being a bit on the freaky side of things. But then he gets extremely personal when he calls out Tommy Lee's son by name and says, "Skirtle, me watch your pussy face father a hurdle," telling Tommy Lee's son Skirtle Sparta that I've watched your father run from me for months. What am I gonna do about this? And it's immediately after this bomb that the beat drops. One crocodile, west side on my son, bullet up a face and spoil up a crown. And this could be a double entendre referring to a crown car, saying that he would shoot it up. But what Masicka is really saying is that whoever is the current king of dancehall, he does not care. He will shoot them in the face, even if that means spoiling up the crown with blood in the process, because he does not care. Suck front Tommy Lee, you will lie down a grung. Bow psycho, you cry to guy pan phone. Referring to an extremely vulnerable moment from Tommy Lee from 11 years ago when he broke down in tears on his prison phone, allegedly crying about some things going down between him and Vybz Kartel and fear for his life. With some of the comments ridiculing him and others empathizing with his struggles, saying that the life of crime is no easy task. Masicka then continues saying, "You broke like dog, little pussy. What you own? Your man lay out years, your career just a drone." And then goes on to assert his financial dominance, saying he bought his mother a house in straight cash, not a loan. He continues to further the narrative of Tommy Lee being a drug-addicted junkie by saying, "You pop the molly, then you nyam the dolly. Shot a cramp your body, rip up the freak in your bone." The song continues with more general violence, but that's when he goes into some of the behind the scenes that even caused the clash in the first place. Masicka says, "The boy they at jail and I beg for collab, but the killer never do it cause my sister ya a clone." So perhaps he's saying that because he did not want to do the collab, Tommy Lee has been preying him for that ever since. He then furthers the narrative that Tommy Lee was trying to use him to revive his career by saying, "Circle Mobile, I still 6 compound, Yenana hits, little bricks run down," saying that even though Tommy Lee is a Mobile artist, him still nav no forward over there and I still 6 around the ground. He also makes a play on the chorus of Tommy Lee's song by saying, "We shot fish but hard for control. Me nana done, I your boss for control." Saying, "Yo, you are talk about your hard for control, but in reality, you have a done. Me nana done. So right you know I your boss for control you and tell you for stay in a line cause you pass your place." He then furthers the junkie narrative even more and tells Tommy Lee to stop give the girl them coke cause on a code that. He then brings up some old beef apparently between Tommy Lee and Bounty when he says, "You try this Bounty and him take you off a stage, little boy, down a riverton in front of the crowd. Me no ride man wave, so Masicka walk proud. Me little son richer than you, me talk loud." Furthering the narrative that Tommy Lee is apparently broke. So broke that even his little son has more money than him. The verse then continues and eventually he reaches a double entendre when he says, "Stop the bus right there sir, you are past place. Bad way, when you ball pan your last case. Coulda wallet, big fish that, coulda wallet. Little budget, you are liver for your little puppet." And that last line went over many people's heads but sparked a massive chain reaction. Because what Masicka is saying here is that Tommy Lee is so broke that he's having to financially live off of his quote-unquote little puppet. And that description fits nobody other than Skeng. Somebody who has previously tried to clash Masicka in the past, but Masicka did not respond to his song Daybreak. Of course, Skeng did not take too lightly to this and immediately ran out with a response of his own that he has yet to drop at the time of this video. He then continues to get even more disrespectful by saying, "Shove the totty in your head and it'll do you dirty. Or be a woman pissing on your face, but you're still not lucky." Continuing the narrative of Tommy Lee being a super freak and saying that even if he's a obia woman a pissing on him face, him still unlucky in any situation where him a go war with him. Squeeze the trigger. When the girl them skin out so, you eat dinner. Defend your friend them were dead in the street, nigga. Me see the picture, them a snitch and them a real switcher. Stop dance up yourself. Or you feel stripper, you a bitch where I perform for the free liquor. Either lift off pan a pussy where a pre-sicker. And after this, as the song begins to wrap up, he says these words.
I call a call from jail, a beg man call up. Me hang up the phone coming over ya snake.
Continuing to then diss him some more, tell him to go suck his mother and calling him a licky licky boy. And of course, as you would expect, the fans absolutely lost their minds to an unprecedented degree. This was the first real song in the war. And quite frankly, the most effort Masicka has put out in a clash for as long as most most of us can even remember. This was really happening and everybody was here for it. People wondered what Tommy Lee could really say in response to all of this. But of course, one thing nobody was going to do was underestimate the capabilities of the Sparta man himself. And the next morning, we all woke up to see a brand new song on Tommy Lee's page called Destroyer. And people, let me just say, this man's vocal performances are some of the best I have ever seen in all of dancehall. His voice literally has the potential to be massive in almost any genre he touches. And at the start of the song, he says in the most angelic voice ever, "You can't be a goat and no murder nothing one time."
You can't be a goat and no murder nothing one time.
But as soon as that angelic intro is done, you better hope you were not deceived, because as soon as the beat drops, he comes in with the most demonic voice ever saying, "Fish and crooks in a swamp, pussy and yam, shit mouth better talk facts, man a real killer and a subs in a song, crocodile nyam them meat in a swamp," saying that Masicka keeps on carrying this narrative about Tommy Lee eating front, but crocodiles are the real meat eaters of the swamp environment. He then goes on to expose some personal financial allegations when he says, "Rich way, and you still a pay loan for your land, ton fool cause bailiff a come for your van, fish and crooks swimming at the same pond," saying that Masicka kept on going on and on about how broke he is, but in reality, not only is he paying loans on his land, but the authorities are confiscating his vehicle because he does not have the money to keep on paying for it. Now, how true is this really? I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out. The song then gets even harder as the beat drops once more and he says, "Which king? Pussy, Walla can kush. Richer than ooh, little nigga talk up," saying that he wants the crown on his head so bad, but he's gonna end up with a fat concussion instead. He then addresses the broke rumors once more and says, "We have land and dirty money, rich and silent, we not talk enough." He then goes on to say, "Yeah, we pop Molly and we dep on drugs. The freak about me you really can say," saying that yeah, he's very open about his drug use and trying to use that to diss him in a song is not the diss he thinks it is. "Yeah, lame, and that make you get bun," with an adlib in the background saying, "Yeah, bakery," exposing that allegedly Masicka's girlfriend cheated on him. But it's after this that he goes into more important matters and addresses the prison video, where he says, "Now watch the ballin', a prison style that," implying that the only reason he was crying on the phone was as a strategic move of some kind. Now, is this true? I have no idea. But regardless, it's a pretty smart response, I'll give him that. "If a me did this, me woulda make it slide, but from you this one our elder, a time for die," saying that he wouldn't care if he just mentioned him alone, but from you this Vibes Cartel is a problem, which to be honest does play into the narrative that Masicka is going for, calling him just another member of the gang and saying that he's following a Don. But perhaps Tommy Lee has no problem embracing that and continues the narrative of crocodiles eating meat when he says, "You know if Shana, you only name the crutch," which refers to the fact that Vibes Cartel publicly exposed Masicka for being in an apparent relationship dealing with Ishana.
And it's a ramping shop. When will you and Ishana ramping stop?
Which is definitely wild considering Masicka's girlfriend has been with him for many years, but we're not going to watch that. He then goes on to get even more personal when he says, "You're just bad pon the phone, nigga. Trying to make me buck you on the road, nigga. Me know say your idol a Idonia," accusing Masicka of stealing Idonia's style, perhaps for his deep voice, which is even wilder considering the two had a back and forth many years ago. And he gets even more personal when he says, "Little house rat, you know certain code, you know see a climax of your portfolio," bringing in Masicka's baby mother into the equation and saying that she's the one who controls his finances. He goes on to address the drug rumors even more when he says, "Yeah, we pop Molly and yeah, we take drugs. LSD that make me tanso, cause if me ever go sober, me turn in a psycho. You know how we grow, that's why you hype so." And that's when Tommy Lee randomly stops DJing and switches his voice into a white nigga to make fun of Masicka by saying this.
Come on, bro, you know you were free.
No, I have no idea who D and Amanda are, but they are probably just as shocked to hear their names in this song as we are. And he continues to expose details about Masicka's past by following up with this.
You know you grew up good cause your father have like a cheese. My good old father.
Furthering the narrative that Masicka could not possibly understand his struggle because him not grow or him grow, which for most artists would not be that deep, but because Masicka's entire image is the struggling ghetto youth who made it out of poverty, this is a pretty wild accusation. He then takes even more jabs at Masicka's entire career when he says, "Me a bet a million. Say one of your fans them can't sing your song till it done. And then, me see a bag of Tommy Lee everywhere me turn. When me look for see a Masicka, no me no see none." Saying that Tommy Lee has inspired pretty much this entire younger generation of artists from Skeng to Raja Wild to Kraft to anyone who is gothic and sings about demonic activities. While literally nobody is out here trying to copy Masicka. Man a size you, pussy go sit down, teacher head big, you can't fit in him crown. And ends off the song with an insane flow where he says, "Me rich bad and evil, me no sign to label, me no work for people." Pointing out the fact that Masicka is one of the only dancehall artists who has signed to a major international label, Def Jam, calling him a puppet and a slave. You worship crown, house, land and vehicle. Hope say when you're dead, them bury them with you. When me there at prison, and me run the block with the eagle. Member say and me say real friend and bill you. And then ends off the song by saying this.
Suck your mother you. I will be there destroy.
And even after the music stops, not only does he not stop talking, but he addresses how Masicka has turned the war into a freak-off and ends the song with this final line.
I understand about freak things still, cause maybe you know, say I in your face climb must get her name, see?
And just like that, the song comes to a close. And I just want to say that between these two songs, both of them were so astronomically tough. I genuinely feel like round one might be tied. Not only did Tommy Lee accurately respond to everything Masicka said, but he also made his fair share of allegations that no Masicka absolutely has to address. The vocal performance of Tommy Lee was unlike anything I've ever heard from another dancehall artist. But at the same time, Masicka's song was a lot more aggressive and suited for war. Who took the first round is genuinely up to your own interpretation, and really and truly, we're just gonna have to see what round 2 brings to the fray. Maybe even Skeng will shake up the breaking update. Just as I was about to upload this video, Masicka just now dropped another song called Tears, with a cover art that shows crocodiles swarming a crying dead man that is very obviously digging into the narrative of Tommy Lee crying in prison. Let's break this down. Unsurprisingly, the song starts off with a clip from the same video we showed earlier of Tommy Lee crying in jail. Remember, the reason why he was crying is because he was afraid that Vybz Kartel was going to do something to him. Hence why the song starts by saying, "Man trick them and press them. Nyam F. Leroy, we no big friend." Calling Tommy Lee by his real government name and saying, "Yo, ya idiot, you make man trick you and press you." He then accuses him of having no intelligence by saying, "You drugs out your sense them," and makes the most diabolical accusation of this entire clash so far. "A be a little picnic and frig, you for dead then." And this allegation is no joke. Therefore, if we're gonna further this narrative, I would love to see some actual proof. We no licky licky, not a coffin nor a hearse, on a sicky sicky. Girl say your back now work, Tommy kissy kitty. Furthering the narrative of Tommy Lee being an enjoyer of the meat between the feet. But then Masicka goes on a very interesting tangent, almost as if he's fighting for justice when he says, "Rifle for rifle, title for title. Enough youth on a stifle will fight on a cycle." Taking aim at the entire Gaza camp and saying that they've stifled many young talents over the years, which has to do with the many accusations and fallouts of OG members of Gaza that we've heard over the years. What does Masicka know behind the scenes that we don't? He then goes on to say, "Charge up the matic, put it side of my Bible." As if to say, "Yo, you're a demon? Well, guess what? We have God pan for your side." No, Bible and matic, I don't know if it works that way, but this is Jamaica. What do we expect? Shot broke the bone from the giant with the 9 do, and my name pon the host them while a man a mine you. Saying that everything Tommy Lee has is because of Vybz Kartel, he's done. Which he further adds on to when he says, "You done style you already, but you return, you have no pride." Referring to, of course, the intro at the start, and saying if Kartel did have you a ball sucker, you're afraid of your life, you really a go back to him? Say you never have no father and you F up as a child. Now you're a smashed little girl, and coca puff up on the side. Bringing back up the kiddie diddler allegations, which again, if this is true, we need some proof because this is insane. And speaking of childhood, he also addresses the claim Tommy Lee made that Masicka did not grow up in a rough environment. He says, "Grow rough, Walter Maban, them never run the file," and continues with more general violence until he reaches a point where he disses Tommy about something that many people have been complaining about for a while. The fact that many people do not understand him when he talks in his songs. Masicka says, "Nah here, kaya mumble, and me a listen now for a while. A pussy juice clog up your throat. Me a use the scope there from a mile." Providing a Very interesting allegation for Tommy Lee's voice. After this, he goes into Tommy Lee's response about saying that his crying on the phone was just a quote-unquote prison style and it was a strategic move. Come and talk about jail style make we cry? Well, guess what? My dog I run life and I hold it out till him die. As if we say, yo, if you're a real bad man, you're not shaking no time. All if a life you in there for. Pussy, if a gun smoke, a head a fly. We never tell no lie. And if a talent alone, you'd never get a blind. Now this is where we have to take a step back and be real with ourselves here. Tommy Lee have more talent than 99% of dancehall. That is a fact. Just like you, just like Alkaline, just like Cartel, him dead. So let's not pretend like, you hear me? Like, no, we're not doing that. Because Tommy Lee never once said Masicka was not talented. He just said he wasn't the king. Which Masicka actually responds to yet again by saying, if you not believe in yourself, pussy face, guess what? Me believe say, me are the king, me are the goat. Tell them legend never die. Send him up to Christ. Yeah, good you Leroy. Yeah, play devil in disguise. He also continues the junkie allegations and accuses him of apparently not being able to read. He then goes on to address the part of Tommy Lee's song which accuses him of being in love with materialism. Me no worship vanity, a poverty winner life. So me staying at the Bumbuckler studio every night. And me don't beg no friend in my own zone, alright. Pussy run upon me at the chrome them a strike, emphasizing the fact that he's a hard worker and deserves every single thing he's ever worked for. And segues this into calling Tommy Lee broke once again by saying, yo, calm down DJ, remember say them boy they head light, them now get no show, we not see them pan the flight, take some time off, get a book and learn to write. F that, mix some cement, left the stage and return the mic. Suck your mama boy, you think say a girl we fight? The song then continues for about 2 to 3 more minutes of just general violence. And finally as it closes he says, him say him richer than me, but him paying a raise. Man for book you for a cake sale, pussy. Him can't at again if me not hear my name. I aim my aim, and then me clear the flame. Dead. And just like that, the song ends. And I'm not going to lie, many of you are not going to like this, but that song to me was extremely weak. Given the fact that it was 6 minutes long, you would think that he genuinely had something of substance to say. But the whole song was basically just a gun song and repeating the same narratives that he had been repeating throughout this entire clash, with the only difference being he's now accusing him of loving children, which is insane, sure, but you only mentioned it twice and the song is 6 minutes. What did you spend 6 minutes talking about? Furthermore, the song is called Tears. You had the intro track as Tears and you have the cover art as Tears, yet you only brought up the prison crying thing like twice and added practically no new information. This is stuff that you already said in the last song. So really and truly, I have to wonder why Masicka thought that this song was the best choice to go with. We could say maybe he was rushing, but if you're rushing, why would you make a 6-minute song? Obviously he had the time. I don't know, man, I don't know, but we'll have to see what Tommy Lee comes back with, because I really thought Masicka was going to win, but hey, against talented people, if you get even a little bit complacent, anybody can lose, and that's a fact. Because at the end of the day, as much as Masicka is the bigger hitmaker, we've seen Tommy Lee in war. And speaking of which, if you want to see how Tommy Lee handled himself in the war against Alkaline and who came out on top, click the video on your screen right now. Stay tuned for more updates, and as always, the dancehall has been decoded.